but just leaving the Kestrel open for themselves does maybe force a ban away from it, but no, they want to ban it themselves. Now, in return, I think Vox is the most likely ban, unless they want to get rid of one of the captains, perhaps Lyra.
I think Saw or Lyra should be the ban here. Banning out the Kestrel, which means do mean that you want to play that Saw. It has been a trend, and I mean Kestrel just does so well against the Saw in the early game. The amount of peer, the sheer amount of poke. I wanted to say poke and sheer in the same word, so it became peer. But anyways, so the amount of poke coming through from a Kestrel onto a Saw in the early game, because of Saw being so immobile, is just quite immense, and we will be seeing a Lyra being taken on a foe. So with Lyra gone, Saw may not be picked up. Maybe a Fox would be quite a good pickup right now for the side of J3X Inferno. But with whatever they pick up here, it will kind of set the pace. They don't have to go for the roam. I mean, they can.
I think they should. I think they should pick their Grace or Catherine or Lance. That works fine. Because if they leave their last pick open, then they have the option to pick Saw. Saw is not good versus Rhyme at all. Saw is so immobile. Rhyme guaranteed to land both portions of the Winter Spire. Doesn't even need to land the root, and he will land the Valkyrie. But now, because Vox has been picked up, you're like, now this could lead us into picking a Saw. Saw Rhyme, pretty good combo with a Lance to initiate, push someone towards that Saw. It can certainly work out, but it would depend on their last jungle picks. I think it's smart from J3X to leave their carry to last so that they can counterpick, make sure they don't set themselves up with a terrible composition. I'd expect to see maybe a Sky coming out from the Divine Aurora, because they don't want to go engage against this Rhyme as something like a crawl, but they're going to go Reza against it. That's very risky, Reza against the Rhyme. You can dodge out some of his Winter Spires with the Troublemaker. I'd love to see a Saw last pick. I think it makes perfect sense. It's good against Vox, fine against Reza, and a really strong pick in the meta.
Yep, and but
Okay.
J3X Inferno will go for that Baron, and Baron can be easily bursted down by this Reza, but of course the cage that Arden will drop will not stop the jump jets, because he has got a block when he overdrive that at level 8. But with that Rhyme being picked up, I'm kind of rocky on this one, because I mean, Mini, we do know that Rhyme will do decently well against a Reza in the early game, because of it's either the Reza has got the Troublemaker as first ability, if not then the Scorcher. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence here as to who I'm going for the draft, because Diva definitely have got a very good early game comp. They can push this Baron out of lane very easily, but of course we have to keep in mind that Rhyme is just constantly on the foe, just able to just put out so much damage as well. And Vox, although you can outkite a Rhyme, if you have the mechanics like that of Death Queue, it will be quite a tough job overall.
Yeah, I think that the Reza will be tough, because when Reza ults, Rhyme can just wait, see where he emerges, throw the Valkyrie down, and then Reza's kind of stuck. He has to either run away or walk into the Valkyrie. And Rhyme is just such a strong hero. Reza's not going to burst him down with the Aftershock or with the Firestarter proc basic attacks. And so Reza has to focus on Baron and Baron alone with his burst, otherwise it's not going to work. I think that Baron can work quite well. He's quite a strong hero this patch, but he does tend to synergize best with captains like Grace or Lyra, or Arden, who can give him heal, who can give him barrier, so that he can keep himself alive. He has the damage. He doesn't need help with initiation. His jump jets does that for him, but he needs disengage and he needs healing. So I think the Lance doesn't work too well, but it will be annoying for Reza to go up against that in this game.
It will be. I mean, Lance Githin Wall, as long as you can land those impales, those Githin Walls into a wall to try to chain your CCs, it will work very well, and it does synergize very well with that of Rhyme. And then Baron can just basically jump jets in to just clean up if possible. But it will be a very tough fight coming into this game, especially with very mobile heroes like that of Reza, Vox, and adding on to the mobility, you have Arden with that Gauntlet and Vanguard as well. So the comp coming through from the side of Diva, definitely an easier comp to execute. Whereas as long as J3X Inferno can hold it on until the late game, they will have the game.
Yeah, Reza will start to fall off later on in the game we get. Early game to mid game, Reza will be a bit stronger than the Baron. Vox should be able to push Baron out of lane. But as you said, once Baron hits that level 9 power spike, level 2 on his ion cannon, so much increased range on those basic attacks. It's really tough to play against that as a Vox in lane. You really can't. You can not do that much anymore once Baron hits his level 9. So it's really that early game Vox has to pressure, try and take maybe the tier 1 turret a bit early against this Baron, and then it could be going to the side of Divine Aurora. But I agree with you. I think the Baron and Rhyme, just such a nice combo together. It's going to be really hard to take down for the side of Divine Aurora. So J3X looking strong, but we are now loading into the Halcyon Fold for the first game between these two teams. Let us know which team you think is going to take the victory. And so, casting this game alongside yourself, Luxuria, I requested Jewel, take it away.
Hello, and I am the final matchup of today between Divine Aurora and J3X Inferno, so it should be exciting at that. Two very close teams, as we said earlier at the very start of the day. In fact, we were talking about a lot of teams wanting to fight to really change up the current point standings and positionings, and Divine Aurora and J3X Inferno both being those. J3X Inferno with the opportunity to possibly surpass that of 500 first and get past Nebulae as well if they can make it through tomorrow. And with Divine Aurora at least wanting to win today, we'll be able to put them ahead of J3X Inferno and possibly 500 first. So, you know, these teams still both vying for a lot with being in week 3 and getting close towards the end now. But yeah, I think it's still going to be a very close game and some pretty good drafting coming out across the board.
Yep, very good drafting, but you know, the variables differs for both teams. On the side of J3X Inferno with that Rhyme, with that Baron, they need to slowly take it slow, take it steady, hold it up till the late game. Whereas for the side of Divine Aurora, they need to go like the rabbit. They need to be fast because they do not quite have the stamina like that of J3X Inferno with their hero comp. And so I'm not going to expect a lot of aggression coming through from Divine Aurora. They are not known for that early aggression, and that will fail them, because if they are not aggression, allowing Baron to scale up, it will be very, very bad. The odds are against them when it goes, when versus are going up against a late game team comp like that J3X Inferno is bringing up.
Yep, and I agree with you there. We do see some early aggression up in the lane as of now with Margin on that Arden just helping out Neon C on that box. And here comes the gank from Spitfire very early on, and they will maybe not quite secure that first blood. And here's going to be the re-engage from, oh my, there's going to be a big jump in from Margin. He did dive under turret for it, so he will take massive damage for that. And Kahlua making sure that happens as he helps secure that kill. So a bit of a unnecessary trade there, but they did get the first blood bonus if that could be counted for anything.
Well, I guess Margin needs an extra 300 gold to build, you know, maybe faster a fountain as compared to Kahlua on that lance. So, hey, let's not fault him on that. He got the kill, and the side of J3X Inferno got a kill in return. But now the wave is pushed up against Baby on this Baron. Like I mentioned, a lot of odds, you know, the odds differs for both teams, and I really enjoy seeing this aggression coming through from the side of Diva. Obviously knowing, you know, that, you know, they have an early game, they are stronger in the early game as compared to the side of J3X Inferno. Even power spike wise, Neon C on that Vox will reach the initial power spike faster than this Baron, unless Baron goes for the tension bow.
Yep, and we do see the aggression now in favor of J3X Inferno themselves, and it's really, as you said, that I totally agree when I saw this draft come out from the side of Divine Aurora. They're going to have the early game, or at least you would hope so, as we see Spitfire on this Reza doing a lot of damage in return as they try and push onto that first turret, not really getting much for it, but it's one of those comps that, once again, if J3X Inferno can make it to the late game, will probably have the upper hand. We've seen it with Reza, his problem being that he falls off towards the late game more or less, but I think it really depends on the build for Reza. Some Rezas like to go for that Storm Crown, but as we saw building previously in challenges, it just doesn't work out. It's not the way to build Reza. I think he can do all right into the late game if you go for a more glass cannon build on him instead.
Yeah, but what the issue really is with Reza is that in the early game, you have your damage, you have your energy consumption is not all that high. But comes late game, the only reason Reza falls out is because you cannot continue and stay in fights for a very long time. Yes, you can go for the Aftershock into a Broken Myth or Dragon's Eye, complete your build with the Clockwork, grant you extra sustain, but most of the time you do not quite want the Clockwork at all. If you really want sustain, you'll go for the Evil Harvest. If you want burst, you'll go for the Clockwork. You want to go for the Shattered Glass.
Yep, and we do see the ults coming online here for this side, for both teams actually, and they're going off everywhere as we see Spitfire going in with the Neverform Dare, doing a lot of damage but taking more in return, being forced back by Night Bim Bim, who has that fortified health but will fall to the Vox, and Vox will fall to the Baron. So once again, they're left even with kills, but Spitfire being the only one to try to defend this initial turret is going to have a tough time as he's really not that tanky. He has the Aftershock, which means now going in to gank, he's able to do a lot of damage, but you can just see how much he takes in return.
Yep, I mean, the double grenade launches coming through from a jump-jetted Baron, it's not something very easy to tank up. I mean, just look at that. That is a total 289 damage per basic attack. That is just insane. I mean, Vox already have to pop back after coming back into lane, and this Tail 1 turret will definitely fall very early on to J3X Inferno.
Yep, and it looks like they'll be able to get with one more shot. Baby does it, is able to use the jump jets away, but wait, no, is going to continue to put some pressure down in this lane. Needs to be careful of Spitfire on this Reza who's coming up, and Reza jumping onto Naibimbim, not really the right target there, as the Ryan will be up to lock you down, as you saw, and Spitfire does not want to get locked down at all on that Reza. He's so squishy, we mentioned before. He's decided to go for an early coated plates. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, up against the Baron, build as much defense as you want, but it will be rather difficult. And in that particular fight, or in that, particular gang when Reza came up, allow me to say this, I know the viewers are going to cringe, I know I'm going to get, flag from the viewers, but there was no rhyme and reason for Reza to just jump onto Naibimbim. Get it? Get it? Okay, never mind. Okay, silence. Okay,
yes,
very nice.
Well,
I like that silence coming through. Okay.
We do have you here for the puns, the punniest of puns, of course, because who else would do them if it weren't for you, Luxuria? But right now, we will see a lot of damage being traded over as J3X Inferno continue to be the aggressors, so things are not looking very good for the side of Divine Aurora, although even in kills they are down in objective and down in gold. Now the gold lead being 17.4k on the side of J3X Inferno, across to the 16k in the hands of Divine Aurora, but they might be able to turn it around here as they push up to this turret, but looks like the whole team of J3X Inferno going to make the rotation up, not even going to their back straight away, so Night Bim Bim just being there for his own presence so they can scare away the Divine Aurora team.
Yep, asked your question, I've yet to answer it. What do I think about the early defense coming through for Spitfire? I think it's fine going up against a Baron, but it's not easy at all, even with that early defense. Baron's basic attack would do 130% of the overall weapon that he has. So even if you do build that, early defense, it will not shield you much. As we saw earlier on, 2 basic attacks from Baron can get Spitfire down very, very low. Naibimbim with the face check.
Yep, and we will see that they're going in deep. There's going to be the Ion Cannon not landing on anyone, but the Gauntlet in return. This could be the turnaround for Divine Aurora. 9bibim going low on that Ryan, but it's not really the problem because Baby up in the front line doing enough work on his own, putting damage down left and right, specifically onto the Reza and the Vox, and woo, the Never Form Detonator used just in time to get away from those auto attacks. And I wasn't sure whether we would see the kill go over to Baron in that situation, but I suppose it is invincibility frames when he's in that transformation stage.
Well, I guess so. I mean, there is no way Reza could have just survived 2 shots at a quarter health at all. And I mean, even Fountain do not quite hit Reza when Reza is in that stage. So I guess he is basically, you know, free or nullified. Not nullified. What is the word that I'm looking for? Help me out here. I request a duo. He is nothing can target him. There you go.
He's invulnerable is basically as I put his invincibility frames, and it's more so that it's a bit of a blink ability, but we'll have to see here as he goes up in the air to use it once more. However, once he comes down, it's definitely an easy target to land the damage onto, especially if Kalu is going to go in with those impales and the Giphian wall, stunning up Nyon, so you continuing to provide vision on that box, and an easy kill for Baby to just jump over the wall and finish off with the double auto. And now they have an even easier job going onto this second turret with no one really left to defend it, only Majin, but there's nothing he can do, and he's probably just going to be forced to back off, if not give up his life.
Yep, he will back off. He is a smarter captain, but he's on the chase as well. Baby, just putting much more damage than what your Blood for Blood can put out at this point in time. But Spitfire, though, may be able to catch Baby, but a Gauntlet will be thrown down, not catching anyone.
Yeah, Spitfire, though, might be able to pick up the kill onto Kahlua. There is the Rhyme there, ready to try protect him. They really want to protect this turret, however, but look at this. The whole team of Divine Aurora finally pushing in on it, and at this stage in the game, they seem to have enough damage across the board on that team. But here comes Baron. He's jumping in with jump jets and is going to try do whatever he can as Spitfire goes in with an Neverform Detonator onto the backline. Massive damage, should be able to pick up the kill onto Baron and onto Rhyme. But Aftershock, it might not be enough to cut through the health before fight health, but it proves so in the end. And Divine Aurora getting more than they asked for. They said, well, we're going to get this first turret, and then it actually was a bit of a misplay coming out from the side of J3X Inferno, as they were playing a bit too aggressive into the comp and maybe a bit too overconfident, as so far they had the lead, but Vespa just swung things back in favor of Divine Aurora.
Yep, but what really happened then was Baby with a double basic attack did not clear out the wave, instead landed it on Margin. And at this point in time, Margin already has got a metal jacket. Your basic attack will not do much onto that of an Arden. You should have just backed off. Try to just give up your first turret. There is no reason trying to hang on to it. You've already got one turret off the enemy. Just go back off, and then find another fight on another day. There was no reason for the side of J3X Inferno to just overstay there, although it is their own turret, but it was considered, pretty much considered overstaying. But they will not let that deter them. They will just push on, and they are being very aggressive in this jungle as well, making full sure that the side of D.Va will not have, you know, free reign, free roam in this particular jungle. And the gold mine is relatively full right now, so the side of J3X Inferno, they can try to go for it.
Well, we did see Fusion picked up on both carries for each team, so we've got the Baron, who's actually not used theirs yet. It's still sitting in that pocket, but Vox already having popped that one will be looking to fight. The question is who's going to find the right engagement, the Impale being so crucial for J3X Inferno, and the Gauntlet being very crucial for the side of Divine Aurora, just to catch out those enemies, force a favorable fight. But right now, looks like Spitfire should be able to rejoin back with his team more than likely, or even keeping him there isn't such a bad idea, as it really splits the attention and gives J3X Inferno something else to worry about. But in the end, he does back off, and we see the team of J3X Inferno camping around these shops once more, and as you mentioned, very good map control at this point.
Yep, very, very good map control. J3X Inferno is just not allowing anybody to get near them.
It's going to be the gauntlet coming out from Margin on the Arden. Ion Cannon drops. It does hit onto Margin and Spitfire, but Spitfire already on the backline, burning down Baby instantly. There's nothing they can do. The Lance not providing enough peel. Neither will the Rhyme, and they will both fall. And now Rhyme, the last one left standing, having to probably just run away from this. He could consider going in for a Goldmine steal, but with most of the vision being cleared out, it will be tough.
It will be very, very difficult. And I did say that, you know, Baron works very well in the late game, and it's creeping near there. But the only issue is that when this Baron, he kind of just fell off because Nancy on that Fox and Spitfire on that Reza has got those power spikes now. Reza got the Shatter Glass, got an Aftershock, have got the Metal Jacket, just try to tank up as much damage from Baby, and as with Nion C as well. So Baby at this point really needs the second Tyrant's Monaco, maybe a third Tyrant's Monaco, and not the Tornado Trigger, just to put out as much damage as he did in that early game. And that is where, you know, J3X Inferno is starting to fall off, because everyone of the side of D.Va is starting to reach the power spikes, and it is their final power spikes of the day, of the game. But, you know, with this final power spikes, with Kraken up on the fold, it will be very, very dangerous if J3X Inferno just let this go.
Yes, it will be dangerous indeed, and we'll have to see if there's anything they can do to turn it around. As I mentioned before, they really just need to keep Baby safe on that backline, but it's such a hard job for that of a Lance and a Rhyme to do. Of course, if they're able to land the CC chain, it might be possible, but Spitfire already taking out that Lance with Killcrare going over to Nancy on the box, however, and there's going to be the Never Form Detonator, does catch out Baby, but he's going to get stunned out and not be able to get the kill, and it looks like he'll just have to settle with that of Rhyme, and very much so, Divine Aurora hitting their power spikes right now, you can see, and they should be able to possibly finish this game out off the back of one Kraken with only 3 turrets remaining.
Yep, they will be able to. I mean, Baby now just lacks all kinds of damage going up against the comp, or rather the builds that, you know, Nion C, Margin, and even Spitfire has settled for, and that is a very, very early Metal Jacket. And they are counter building very, very well as well. With this Kraken being taken by the side of D.Va, it will be quite difficult for the side of J3X Inferno to just, you know, try their best to just try to deter this Kraken push coming through from the side of D.Va. I mean, they have got so much damage, infusions popped across the board to try to stop this Kraken push, but I don't think it's enough at all. As long as Neoncy can just dance in the back line, try to poke as much as possible, and then build those breaking point stacks, it will be very, very difficult for J3X Inferno to just try to stop this.
Yep, and we will see what they're going to try and do here. Spitfire moving onto the backline and doesn't even need the Never Form Detonator to take out the Baron, but he's going to use it now to try catch out Night Bim Bim, and there's going to be the Gauntlet catching him out as well, and so they're going to just move on. There's the Root stopping the chase any further, but they've already taken out 2 members of the side of J3X Inferno. This is looking like it could be game. Only the Rhyme left to try do anything about it, and it will be tough indeed. He's trying to catch out Spitfire, but his targeting is so split at the moment as he's got too many things to worry about. There's the Fountain coming through for Divine Aurora's Kraken, still just under half health. The second turret will fall, and they make their way onto this crystal with more than enough damage needed. There is the Vox who's going to fall, the Reza, but the Kraken still remains, and they get the ace for game, or the shutdown, I mean.
Yep, and this is what I'm talking about. The final item that Baby on the Baron has to pick up to reach that final, you know, item spike. It's so slow and it's so drawn out, and we've seen this before. We've